Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to roll up our sleeves and really get into business budgeting.
Yeah,
But don't worry, we're not going to bore you with spreadsheets.
no way.
We're going to arm you, the entrepreneur,
Right.
with the tools to make sure your business is financially unstoppable.
That's it. It's not just about
Yeah.
keeping your head above water. It's about
Yeah.
making smart investments, making decisions that make sense, and really setting yourself up to grow.
I love it. You've got some really great insights from Mimi's podcast TV about why budgeting is like the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, dodging those overdraft fees, right?
Right.
Mimi goes deep on 5 reasons why a budget is like non-negotiable for business owners.
And the thing is, it's way more than just like tracking your spending, right? It's like your financial battle plan.
Okay.
It lets you decide where your resources need to go to really make a difference, right? Think about it. You wouldn't launch like a marketing campaign without knowing who you're trying to reach, right? So your budget, that's how you target, your financial resources for the maximum impact.
Okay, I love that analogy. So I'm hearing you, a good budget helps me decide if I should be putting more money into, say, marketing a new product
Yeah.
or maybe bringing on someone new to the team.
Exactly. It's all about making sure your spending lines up with what you want your business to achieve.
Okay.
And let's be real for a sec. There's always going to be unexpected costs popping up, right?
Yeah.
Mimi talks about using your budget as like a financial safety net for those like, oh crap moments.
Yeah, like when the printer decides to die or
Yeah.
that software subscription doubles in price.
Exactly.
It feels like there's always something.
There is always something. And that's where that emergency fund built into your budget.
Yeah.
That's what saves you, right? Think of it like your business's rainy day fund.
I like it.
That little cushion that keeps a small problem from becoming a huge financial disaster, right?
You're speaking my language. So we're talking about more than just like dodging financial bullets here, right?
Yeah.
Mimi also says that a good budget is like a golden ticket when you're trying to get investors interested.
Oh, yeah. It's like
Right.
sending a signal flare that says, hey, I'm a safe bet. Because it shows them you're not just like playing it by ear.
Yeah.
You know your numbers. You've got a solid plan, and you're serious about making their money work for them,
Okay, so we're all on board with the why.
Yeah,
Budgeting is a good thing.
absolutely.
But where do we even start? Mimi gives this like super clear step-by-step guide, and she starts with like really understanding where your money's coming from.
And this is where understanding your own business journey is so important.
Okay.
Are you a brand new business just figuring out those first sales? Or do you have like years of data to work with?
Yeah.
Mimi encourages everyone to be realistic, setting goals you can actually achieve based on where you're at.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a handle on the money coming in. Now, Mimi says it's time to tackle the expenses, and she splits them up
Yeah.
into 2 main buckets.
Yeah.
Fixed costs and variable costs.
Yeah. And this is where it gets interesting, right? So fixed costs, those are your non-negotiables, right? Like rent and salaries and that software you need to keep the lights on, those kinds of things.
Right.
They're usually pretty steady, which makes them a bit easier to budget for.
Gotcha.
Variable expenses, though, they're a little more.
Some more unpredictable.
Yeah, let's go with unpredictable.
Okay, so fixed costs are like the reliable ones, and variable costs are more like that friend
Right.
who's always full of surprises. Sometimes good, sometimes not so much.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are some examples of variable costs? What should I be looking out for?
Well, that really depends on your industry,
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
let's say you're running an online store, right? Your variable costs might be things like inventory,
Right.
shipping, online ads, that sort of thing. Those are all going to change depending on, how much you're selling and what the market's doing.
Right.
Or if you're more like, a consultant,
Yeah.
your variable costs, they might be travel, those courses you take to stay up to date, or even just those business lunches.
Oh, yeah, those business lunches can really add up.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's about knowing which expenses are likely to change and factoring that in.
That's it. It's about really seeing the full picture of your finances, right?
Yeah,
Knowing where every dollar is going and being able to adjust as you go.
I like it. So Mimi's all about being proactive, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that brings us to planning for the unexpected.
Yeah.
I have to admit, this is where I tend to just, like, want to hide.
It's not the most fun part.
It's not.
It's way more fun to think about, like, the possibilities,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's so important, right?
Right.
Mimi says to try and put aside around 5 to 10% of your monthly revenue, just in case.
Okay, 5 to 10%. Is there, like, a reason for that range? Or is that just like a random number.
It's not random at all.
Okay.
That 5 to 10%, it's there to help you handle those moments every business has,
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what if your website crashes and you need to bring in, like, an emergency tech team?
Yeah.
Or what if your best employee has to take some unexpected time off?
Okay.
You need to be ready for anything, right?
So it's about having that cushion
Yeah.
to deal with whatever gets thrown at you.
Exactly.
So that 5 to 10% contingency, it's not just like an extra expense. It's like
Oh, no, it's essential, right?
business insurance.
It's like peace of mind?
Exactly.
And that actually leads right into Mimi's next point, which is all about tracking your cash flow.
Okay.
It's not enough to just make a budget and forget about it, right?
Right.
You got to make sure it's reflecting what's really happening in your business.
Yeah.
And that means keeping track of every dollar coming in and going out.
Okay, so how often should we be checking in on our cash flow?
Right. So,
Is this like a daily thing,
yeah.
weekly, monthly?
There's not really a right or wrong answer here.
Okay.
But Mimi, she generally recommends at least monthly,
Oh,
maybe quarterly. It just depends on your business.
so it's about finding that rhythm that works for you.
Exactly. And being ready to adapt.
Right.
Things change so fast in the business world.
Oh, absolutely.
And your budget has to be able to keep up.
Okay.
Regularly reviewing everything, that's what lets you make those adjustments in real time, to make sure you're always heading in the right direction.
Right.
Like maybe you had a great quarter and you can afford to invest a bit more.
Okay.
Or maybe there's a new competitor and you need to adjust your prices.
Okay.
It's about staying flexible.
You're like adjusting your sails while you're,
Exactly. And that's what I love about what Mimi's laid out for us,
Yeah.
It's a framework, it's not a rule book, right?
This has been amazing.
Yeah.
We've gone from feeling totally overwhelmed by budgeting to feeling like empowered to really take control of our financial futures,
I love it.
Thanks to Mimi's insights, we've figured out the why, like why budgeting is the foundation of a successful business,
That's so important.
and the how, that clear path to actually making a budget that works for us,
That's it. That's the key.
not against us.
Absolutely.
So to all our listeners out there, what budgeting questions are on your mind? What challenges are you facing? Keep those questions coming, because the learning never stops here on The Deep Dive.